Hey guys, welcome back to Benos Esther Malka's channel. Today I would like to address a very important topic. And if you agree with this topic, don't forget to like this video so I'll just kind of get feedback from you guys. And that is spelling. And I have worked in various educational environments, from traditional to homeschool, especially now, to, Montessori inspired, whatever the case is. And I have also spoken with other educators, and the topic comes up kind of, it's the same topic. And the issue is like this. Number one, I have to give spelling tests and I don't believe in it. Or number two, I give spelling tests and it doesn't really do anything for the students. So I am here. This is not what I do in terms of how it incorporates our ideals in Benos Esther Malka, but you'll kind of see as we go along. So the first thing is, if you are in a traditional setting and your district or your principal or your school says you are giving a spelling test every day, whether it's 5, 10, every week, every day is a little bit much, but anyway, whether it's 5, 10, 15, 20 words, whatever the age is, so you have to give spelling. You have to give spelling tests. That's what's required. Nothing you can do about it. But on the same note, you have those kids who just understand everything. You're like, why am I giving the kid a spelling test? Like, that's a baby word for them. Yeah, I met a boy once, true story. And this boy was like telling me how, yeah, we're learning the short O sound. And he's reading Harry Potter. I'm like, boy. You think about this kid, like, this kid has an advanced spelling. He's reading Harry Potter, but district said short O words. And I'm sitting there looking at this kid. I'm like, I pity you. So we're going to respect the districts. We are going to respect the school system. Now, there are, unfortunately, a few actual districts that will hand out the words, but if you have the freedom to not to choose your own words, I'm just going to give you a few fun ideas on how to give a spelling test that fits every child. It's going to be crazy, but you guys could do it. Number one, the child has to write. Whether it's a sentence, how was your day today? And they'll write down a sentence. My day was fantastic. Whatever the case is, you have to start off with allowing the child to write without your feedback per se. Without guiding. Like don't guide the child. Don't give a class assignment like, okay, we're writing about whales. Okay, class, whales are, and they all put the same thing. No. It needs to be creative writing. It needs to come from the child's mind so you can really understand where their spelling comes from, because that's important. So number one, the child has to write and it can't be too guided. Number two, look over their work and figure out patterns. Is the child a weak speller because they don't have a solid phonics background? Or is the child a strong speller but is lacking greatly in terms of sight words? I don't know. You have to, kind of assess the child's writing and figure out where the strengths and weaknesses lie. That's number two. Number three, if it's phonics based, now this is going to be very hard because talk about differentiation. If you have 20 kids, you're going to have 20 spelling tests. And I'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, number two, if it's phonics based, and this is actually the best. I love it. If the kid, let's say, go back to the short O, doesn't know the short O sounds, it's like dog and hot, whatever the case is, like you make your spelling words and you give the child blank templates. You give the child 20 spelling words. Because again, that brings me to another thing. Every time you assess your student's work, you're meeting one-on-one anyway. So just grab a few mistakes and throw it on a spelling list. That's all they really need. You don't need to think, deep into it. But anyway, so number one, back to number three has two parts. So number A of part three, if the child's mistake has to do with phonics, then pick a sound and give them, again, however many you have to give, words of that sound. So let's say maybe short I, pig, dig, fig. Fill out the sheet. They'll go home and they'll learn that vowel sound. Most likely is you just gave them a tool not only for this test, but for the future. Good job. If it's sight word based, then come up with a bunch of words that you see they're making a mistake in their writing. And so if they spell a word wrong, like neighbor, okay, so you know what? They have it as a spelling word. The word love, you sound it out, it's love. Sight word. The word said, it's said. So again, if it's sight word based, then every week come up with a list of sight words. Now, here's the crazy part. How on earth, you as a teacher, how on earth are you going to give 20 or 30 different spelling tests? And that's the super easy part. Don't. Not you. Don't give the spelling test. Rather, pair students up. Pair the students up. Because again, you give them a blank sheet, and every day or every time they write, you kind of add on words. So it's words appropriate for that child. And then when it's time for that spelling test, you give the same sheet on a blank template, and then you have partners say, ready, set, go. And the partners will read the spelling words to their peer. And then however long it takes, then they'll swap positions and the same thing. And all you have to do then is take that template, take the sheet, and look over it quickly. And you'll find out two fantastic things. Number one, the child who just needed a tiny boost can now go on to the next phonics. The child who was great with their sight words, you can either A, continue looking through their work, B, cheat a little bit, and actually give them vocabulary sight words. So now you're really challenging them. Or you have the child who still needs help, and they're getting the help. Now, why is it so successful? Just take a minute to think back. Let's say the first week of first grade, because that's really, the kids all know their letter sounds and they're all ready to start learning. So you teach a short A sound, and you have kids who are like, hey, I'm way past beginner readers and I'm doing the short A sound. And they're so respectful but so bored. Then you have the students like, oh, this is new to me. Thank you for teaching me. And then you have the student who's like, I really don't understand what's happening. Okay, fine. That's week 1. Week 2, you have, let's say you do the short E sound. And again, you have, oh, this is so boring because I already know it. And they're being respectful and, and I give that group a huge round of applause for sitting there through all of those lessons. And then you have the students who are like, oh, wow, thank you for teaching me again. And then let's get back to the last group who never understood it to begin with. And they're like, wait, I never understood the short A sound. And now I don't understand short A or short E. And then you keep moving forward. And now they don't understand A, E, I, or U. And they're like, oh my goodness. And they end first grade on a note that's confusing. So you have the group that didn't understand the short A sound is totally confused, never really progressed, or never reached their potential because it was too fast. You have the middle group who learned, and you have the advanced group who got 100 in every test, but they never actually learned anything. So if you were to actually, and again, it depends, if your district does not actually give you words for a spelling test, this model is amazing because the students that need 3 weeks for one sound will get those 3 weeks for one sound. The students who can coast along at an average rate will coast along, and you'd be surprised, some of them may even advance, and the students that are advanced will not sit there bored. And I have a story just to share. This one really broke my heart. There was a first grade student who was in one of the classes that I was not the main teacher, I was the assistant. And the teacher that I worked with was phenomenal. Like, she taught college level, first grade level, high school, basically the whole entire English language arts. And this little first grader had, I believe it was the 5th grade sister, and the 5th grade sister had an assignment to write a poem that consisted of 4 lines about spring. Now, that is not easy if you think about it. Am I writing about the birds? Am I writing about the flowers? I can't make it too wordy. you have to think about all this. So this first grader who did have spelling tests and did go through this natural process of, because I'm in first grade, I must complete first grade work. So the girl brings back this assignment from her older sister. Now, the teacher who's taught advanced English language arts everywhere, we both read it. And I wish I saved a copy of the poem. But we looked at each other and said, these 4 sentences are on a high school level. Now let that sink in a minute. How many of you have students who are below level because they were never taught right, and who are on a much more advanced level and weren't stimulated enough? And when we can actually understand that every student is different, then we can cater this, the spelling words, the spelling tests, and it doesn't matter who the partners are, because the words are different. And when we can create an environment that, the key is, we as teachers, we're not putting ourselves out there extra. We're editing their work and we're throwing some words on a sheet. So simple, so effective. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like this, because this is one of many more in this series of, little educational tips that you could really use to advance your students' learning to whole new levels. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Happy playing.